Good morning, everyone. So welcome to our Hindu newspapers Delhi edition. So first of all, we have Mohammed Zubair, who was the founder of the Alt News. We all know he was arrested for a certain tweet that was made in 2018. So finally, he has been granted bail. In fact, yesterday itself, the Supreme Court had made some strong remarks about the conduct of the UP and the Delhi police. And it has said that the power of arrest must be used sparingly. Okay, so this is it. Now, Ranil Wickremesinghe has been elected as the new president of Sri Lanka. So it will be his responsibility of steering Sri Lanka outside of this crisis. Then this is important. Supreme Court asks if Shinde faction's dissent amounts to split. Okay, so let us see why is it important. So it's important because it's defection. Now let us understand this. What does this mean over here? So we know about defection. So defection means that members of a certain political party, they defect, they move aside from one political camp to the other. Okay, so that is defection. So when defection takes place, there is an anti-defection law that was introduced via the 91st Constitutional Amendment. So it says that MPs or the MLAs who have defected, they will be disqualified. They will lose the membership of their house. Right? So membership, they will lose. But there is an exception. That is, if the two-third of the members of the MLAs or the MPs of the house, if they merge, if they move aside, if they defect and they merge with a different political party. For example, in Shiv Sena that we hear, so let's say the Shinde camp, Shinde faction, they become part of the BJP. So that will be a merger. So if that happens, then they will not be disqualified. Right. So there is this protection only for merger when we talk about the anti-defection law. It is not for split. So that is what the Supreme Court is wondering. They're saying that this is a split because they have not, this is not a merger. They have not become part of the BJP or a new political camp as a new political party as they have not merged with any camp over here. They are alone. They are standalone. In fact, they are claiming themselves to be the original Shiv Sena. So this kind of amounts to a split. So now if the Shinde faction wants to prove that they don't want to be disqualified and Mr. Shinde wants to be the chief minister, he will have to prove that this is not a split. Okay. Now, prior to this, like earlier, split was also part of the protections, exemptions, but this was removed. So this was provided in the paragraph 3. So let's quickly move on. So this is the urban issues that we have. So quickly, all right. So budget is coming up, focus on sanitation and education, flooded roads, traffic snarls. So this is about the urban floods. So urban floods is a very important issue. UPSC has been repeatedly asking questions on this ever since 2016, when National Disaster Management Authority had declared urban floods as a separate class of disasters. Okay. Now, this is important from the point of view of constitution. Further, you have your chapter on the local bodies also, right? So as part of your syllabus. Okay. So let's quickly study this from the static point of view, and then we'll discuss what has happened over here. Okay. So quick recap. So we know that by the 73rd and the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, the local bodies were given constitutional status. And this also provided for reservations. So when we talk about reservation, the constitution only specifies that 1/3 of reservations would be for women. And it says for SC and ST, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, this will be in proportion to their population. That is, if let's say 16% population in a constituency is scheduled caste, then 16% reservation. Right. So that would be the case. Okay. Or else, subsequently, the state legislative assembly can pass a law and specify the quantum of reservation. So that can also be there. Okay, so this was the thing. And they can also provide for reservation for any backward class, for example, the OBCs. Now, there is a limitation also on the amount of reservation that can be done. So according to the Indra Sani versus Union of India, there is a limit that has been set of 50%. That is, under no circumstances, the reservation can go beyond the 50%. And then in 2010, the Supreme Court had laid down a triple test. Now, this is important. You can quote this also. So it said, first of all, there should be an independent commission that looks into the matters of reservation. Then this should be done via an empirical data. Data should be collected and so that we can justify the need for a reservation. And subsequently, and even then, the reservation should not breach 50% of the overall membership. Now, this was important because independent commission and empirical data, because we find that for political reasons, considerations, the reservations may be given, right? So driven by political motives and not by the data. So this was a good improvement overall. Okay, now what we see is that Supreme Court has diluted the stand maybe because 27% OBC quota that was given, that this was in breach of the 50% limit. Now Supreme Court has cleared this. So that's what I'm saying. This is an exception to the Indra Sani judgment and all the prior judgments associated. Okay, quickly, Supreme Court to hear pleas on Mekadattu project. So Mekadattu project is on the Kaveri River, and Kaveri, as we know, flows from Karnataka to Tamil Nadu. And the idea of the Mekadattu project, it is in vicinity of the Bangalore city and very close to the border. So it will provide drinking water to the Bangalore people. That was the idea. So this project was there. Now, naturally, if this project is being done, so if the dam is being created, this will keep some water for the people, and then the water will be released for the people of Tamil Nadu. So they'll get lesser water. So that is why the Tamil Nadu is opposing this. Okay, so they are opposing this. Kaveri dispute is again a very important issue. So interstate river water dispute. This is an example of that. Now coming to the Mekadattu, this thing, this can be asked in your pre also, like basic details about Mekadattu. For example, Mekadattu in Kannada means the goat's leap. So there is this thing about Mekadattu. So 1 second. Yeah. So there is this thing about the Mekadattu that there was a goat that was being attacked or chased by the tiger and it leaped. So that is why this name has come. So let's look at the Mekadattu river. So this is like going via a narrow gauge. So certain basic details, this can be taken up. Okay. So this is it. So now let's quickly move downwards. Vayanath Sanctuary is there in news, so we should have a basic idea of this. Okay, this is about steering Sri Lanka back onto the path, a hint of stability. A president is elected, so some political stability would be there. So all that, right? So it's about what measures should be done. It should negotiate with the IMF and other stakeholders so that some money is there for Sri Lanka and things become normal. Next is article on revamping India's social health services. Sorry, school health services. So it's not about public healthcare sector, it is about school. And within the school, we know that there are school children. So we have children of a certain age group, population of certain age group that are there. So for them, we can have these health services in school. We have basic doctor, etc. there. So we can focus on age-specific issues at the school level itself. For example, the children have like adolescents, etc. They have certain issues like dietary habits, irregular sleep, lack of physical activities, mental, dental, eye care problems, sexual behavior, use of tobacco, addiction. So all of these issues can be addressed at the early stage before they become adults. right? So they can be molded into better beings. So in that perspective. So I'm not going beyond this. Don't really expect a direct question on this issue overall, but maybe yes, later adolescent health will holistically take up. Okay, India-Vietnam ties, this we'll do this and then this. India-Vietnam ties from strong to stronger. Right, so this is about Vietnam, and I hope you can, let's look at the map only. So let me just post the map. So that, whenever we study international relations, it should always be with the help of the map. Okay, so you see the Vietnam. Now both India and Vietnam have problems with China. They have territorial disputes. So that is one thing. So what India is doing is, at the present moment, one is that Vietnam is also looking at an alternative to China, and they are literally being bullied by the Chinese because they are very, very powerful over here. So India and Vietnam are intensifying their defense collaboration. So they are working on the defense aspect over here. For example, they are providing them line of credit. They are providing them with the BrahMos missile. So Navy strike capabilities. Then also this underwater combat operation training. So all of that is taking place. So why is that? So one is that India wants to be a security provider. It says that we have a stake in the South China Sea region also. If China can claim that they have a stake in Indian Ocean, why can't India say that we have a stake in the South China region? So that is there. Then another thing is that with Vietnam is an Asian country, and we can also collaborate with other Asian countries. So this can be like a stepping stone to collaborate with other Asian partners. So Indo-Pacific partnership, on those lines, we can work together. Then the South China Sea region, we are also collaborating with the Quad grouping. So we see that we have an interest over here with reference to the sea lanes of communication, the sea trade that is going on. We want freedom of navigation, plus we want to intensify our relationship with the Asian countries. And then South China Sea is also known to have these rare earths, strategic metals, natural gas. So from that perspective also, this is important. So we are collaborating on all those aspects. South China Sea is important from a geostrategic point of view for India. Right. And tomorrow, let's say India and China relations go bad, border issue takes place. So somewhere we can actually choke China via the maritime trade via the Strait of Malacca. So we have this Iron Curtain policy. For that, we need the cooperation of the Asian countries like the Indonesia, etc. Okay, so this have gone beyond the news actually. So what was there in the news? So quickly, moving here, then this part is important. So this I'm giving you as homework. So it says that India and Vietnam are using the regional or the sub-regional frameworks or multilateral frameworks to improve their relationship. So they are talking about, I'm writing it in big, Indian Ocean Region Rim Association, BIMSTEC, Mekong Ganga Cooperation, and Asian Defense Ministers Meeting Plus. Now, your homework is you to find out which all countries are there, some basic things about all these institutions. And but naturally, India is part of this. Is China part of this or not? So something like this: China, Japan, with Mekong Ganga, which all countries are there? Mekong River is passing through which all countries? So like that, you can do it. Then there is a reference of Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative, which is a Prime Minister Modi-led initiative actually, which is talking about India and Asian countries working on 7 pillars of cooperation. So 1 second, Indo, yeah. So maritime ecology, maritime security, resources, capacity building, resource sharing. So all of this, they are working together, 7 points, I think. And this is not specific to Asia also because we also have Australia. So other countries are also joining this initiative. Next is an explainer. Oh, sorry, not explainer. This is about the MMR. I missed this. So, our country, if you look at the data on the maternal mortality rate. So, first of all, what is the maternal mortality? So, when the woman is giving birth to a child, so there are complications may take place, and because of that, deaths also take place. So, maternal mortality. So, how many deaths are taking place per 1 lakh of childbirths? So, that is MMR. And other indicator is infant mortality rate. That is for the newborn. Okay. So, in our country, typically it has been very, very poor. What's happening? MMR. Yeah. You see, we get all those things over here. So this is to be used as a reference material. Okay. So a recent survey has come. Then we have the data from the family, from the government itself. So the Registrar General of India. So it's saying that the IMR has reduced from 37 to 37 per 1,000 live births in 2015 to 30 per 1,000 live births. So this is about the IMR. With reference to the MMR, maternal mortality rate, we have reduced it from 130 per 1 lakh live births to 113 per 1 lakh live births for 2016 and 18. Now, if we look at the global standard, that is the Sustainable Development Goals, so that is at SDG. So for Sustainable Development Goals, the target is set at MMR should be at 70 deaths, should be below 70 deaths per 1 lakh live births. So that is then there, right? So many states have been able to achieve this, many states. But again, we find in our country, we find that certain states are doing well and certain states are doing bad. Then within the state also, there are certain regions who are doing well, certain states which are doing, certain regions within the state are doing very, very poorly. So there is a huge inequality overall with reference to the MMR. And MMR and IMR is not just about maternal health, it is also about the inadequacies of the healthcare sector and healthcare from a gender perspective. So inadequacies of the responsiveness of the health system. Now, beyond this, we need to know about what all things is the government doing to deal with the issue of MMR. So I'll share this article with you. So it tells us about some schemes, some measures that the government has taken. So I'll post it in the comment section. Okay. Now, for the first time, we have an thing on why the heat waves are taking place. So this is with reference to the Europe and the US. So why is that taking place? Now, we have been hearing it for some time that a lot of heat-related deaths are taking place. There is forest fire that is taking place. Right, so this is taking place. Then there is drought. The food bowls are getting affected because of this. Water is not coming. So why is this taking place? So first of all, we know climate change is taking place and global temperatures have already breached 1 degree Celsius. Right, so it has increased by 1 degree Celsius. So global climate, that is an average, long-term average of the overall temperature. So if this increases, so there is a possibility that, for example, in UK witnessing 40 degrees Celsius temperature by 10 times. And UK is a temperate country. And this temperature is indicative of a tropical country. And tropical also, this is considered hot. Right, so this is happening. In the Antarctica, temperature may rise by to normal, above the normal by as much as 15 degrees Celsius. And in the North Pole region by more than 3 degrees Celsius. So if all of this takes place, it will affect the planetary wind system. You know, the wind system will get disturbed because of this. The complex arrangement of the wind system, the high pressure and the low pressure regions. The high pressure regions, for example, the Arctic and if you look at the Earth, so the Arctic, it's very, very cold. So it is a high pressure area, then low pressure. So there is a series of wind system pressure belts over here, which decides how the winds would flow. Now, with the rising temperature, these wind systems have gotten affected. For example, the Europe is witnessing a heat dome. So it has emerged as a low pressure area. So low pressure means it is drawing air from the high pressure region. Particularly, it is drawing air from the other regions. For example, particularly the winds from the African region, sub-Saharan region over here. So that is also leading to the extreme heat over here. Right? So that is taking place. So heat dome is taking place even in US. In US, what happens is there is a jet stream that is flowing. So you see the jet stream. So if there is a strong jet stream, it will be able to contain the cold temperature to this region only. Now if this gets weakened, so the climate overall will get affected in the southern parts also. So this is taking place. So this is leading to temperature anomalies in the region. Next day, I'm going to do it with the slides only. This is very difficult. Okay. Now, what are the implications? So naturally, this will require the need for air conditioning. So more energy requirement will be there. And this is coming at a wrong time when Russia wants to have, we want to impose sanctions on Russia. So Europe wants to have, but it cannot reduce the energy dependence over here. So that is happening. Then drying of rivers, food security is a matter of concern. Water tables are getting depleted. So all of that. Right. So same state news over here. Protests paralyze parliament. Approval to raise GST on essential. Cheetahs likely to arrive in Puno before August 15. So this is coming from the Namibia. So cheetah have been extinct in India. So now they're coming from Namibia. Right. And this Kuno National Park is in Madhya Pradesh. After Putin's fresh warning, so Putin has given a warning that the supplies from the Nord Stream pipeline could be reduced further, right? So European Union members tell the members to cut gas usage naturally. Okay, so Nord Stream. It doesn't matter. So Nord Stream is basically gas coming from Russia to Germany, right? So this is an alternate. Earlier it was coming via the Ukraine. Now this pipeline was also there, Nord Stream 1, and then Nord Stream 2 was getting constructed. Okay, so naturally, if the pipeline gets affected, energy gets gets affected from here, so it will lead to the escalation of the energy crisis in Europe. So it's a major energy supply line for the Europe over here. Sunak truce in last round of Tory leadership race. What does Putin want from Iran? This is important. So all my highlights have actually been erased. So long story cut short, it's basically Putin is having sanctions, Russia is having sanctions, Iran is having sanctions, from which the US and the West. So dushman ka dushman dost, so they coming together, right? And Iran and China. So China, they are intensifying relationship, and China and Russia are intensifying relationship. So now we have President Putin who has come to Iran. So he's meeting his counterparts over here. So that is the overall arrangement over here. And then we also hear about Iran becoming a member of the SCO. So formal proceedings have started on this regard. Now, this doesn't really bode well for India in the sense if Iran goes closer towards China. So that's not a good thing for India. Center pays windfall tax. So windfall tax is when if a certain company, anything, if it gets excess of revenue, because of certain events. So if there are too much of revenues coming, so to neutralize that, the government introduces the windfall tax. So windfall means a lot of money coming, so taking that off. So center has reduced the windfall tax on crude, and petrol export levy has been taken away. Right? So if somebody is exporting petrol from a country, which happens actually, so that levy has been taken out. That is, the tax has been removed from that export tax. Don't apply ESG standards, ESG norms, that is environment, social and governance norms blindly on developing countries. So, the West says that you have to focus on the environment and all those things. But the West itself, like you can see, the West itself is using the coal. So coal is polluting, but they themselves are using it. So don't just tell Indians. So that is what the chief economic advisor is saying. So the standards should apply universally to all, or you don't say anything. RBI ready to wage 100 billion rupee defense. So what this means is that we know that the rupee has losing its value in the markets. So Reserve Bank of India, as we know, that the Reserve Bank of India is holding on to certain foreign exchange. So it already has a foreign exchange over here. So of this, what it will do is it will sell out dollars. So it will sell out dollars and demand rupees. So technically, what is happening is that demand for rupee is being raised. So overall in the market, what is happening? The foreign portfolio investors, what are they doing? They are demanding dollars by selling rupees. So rupee is getting depreciated. So RBI is doing a counter move over here by selling out huge amount of dollars and demanding rupees in return. So that should increase the value of rupee. So that is what they are doing. So this is kind of an open market operation. RBI to initiate central bank digital currency. We have a video on this also. Okay, so this is going to come in, but for the time being, this will not be a pan-India thing, full-scale implementation. Initially, it will be done at the wholesale and the retail sectors, and later it will be introduced. Seeing the hiccups and all those things, then it will come. Okay, so this is it. Now comes the sport news, and this concludes our session. So this is it. Thank you for streaming in to our channel, IASPrimers, with me, Shubhashish. Bye-bye, take care, and all the best.